We didn't put that in yet?
No.
You sure?
Yes, I'm very positive.
Okay, good. Somebody's keeping track.
Aloha, folks. Welcome back to Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. We have another guest tonight. If I told you that this is, you know how people say, like, this guy wrote the book on Tiki? Yeah, this guy wrote the Book of Tiki. Really? Wrote the Book of Tiki. I would like to welcome my very good friend, and it is my distinct pleasure to bring him onto the show, Mr. Sven Kirsten.
Howdy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm glad to be here finally. I've
Yep.
watched many of your shows, and I'm happy to be invited.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We've been drinking glasses of rum.
Yes. Oh, I didn't bring, because I had my hands full, I brought something else. I'm not as much as a home mixologist as you are, and I like to sip rum.
I was like, do you want me to make you a daiquiri or something? And he's like, how about just a glass of rum?
Yeah, and of course, I demand the best rum in the house.
That's right. So we drank a 21-year apple.
The other way around. That sounded really good.
Yeah.
And then I saw the plantation, and I had some of that.
So on the show, we've done like a zillion cocktails from Trader Vic's.
Right.
You recently had another book come out.
Yeah, a little tome, this here.
And before we get to that, this is the book
Oh.
that in college changed the trajectory of my life.
Aw, I'm sorry.
Did you have any idea that that book would change? I mean, there are giant festivals now across the
Right.
world, I would say because of this book.
Yeah, but that was actually going on parallel. The first Tiki Oasis happened like a year after my book, so that was an extension of Otto's backyard parties. And then he continued having these little Tiki cultural events throughout Los Angeles because he was living in LA at the time.
Yeah.
And I would always contribute slideshow, and other friends would contribute art and stuff. The first Tiki Oasis in 2001, I think, was sort of like the first one of these festivals. I can't take all the credit because it was also a zeitgeist thing that people came together and it just had clicked at the right time.
Right.
The Tiki Farm started making tiki mugs around that time. Shag got really popular.
Yep.
I think
The Tiki Tones were performing.
the Tiki Tones were performing.
Uh-huh.
Probably a similar amount of people got exposed to Tiki through Shag than through my Book of Tiki.
Yeah.
They got into things through that, and then they discovered the book and got the background and stuff like that.
I think so many people skip the education part, and it's great for the people that want to get into it through cocktails and that kind of stuff, but there is such a rich history in Tiki.
It's funny when you mention education, people always think it's like, oh, boring. But
It's so not boring.
I call it edutainment. It's fun. It's so exciting to find out more things and learn about the context of things. That's why I'm happy with this book, because it puts a context to this mug that I designed from this Tiki that I just, that I talk about in this little book. To me, it gives things a whole another dimension of value. It's not just because it's a collector's item or something like that, but you can actually find out where this fits in the whole evolution of Tiki.
And where can you get that Tiki mug?
I'm embarrassed to say, but it's already sold out. The first batch, I sold them at Tiki markets because I hate packing and shipping. But I told everyone, wait, it's going to be available online through Tiki Farm, because I like doing mugs that are not only a limited collector's edition, but that people can get. But then Trader Vic's also had their limited 100 edition that sold on online. And then this thing came out, I think 2 days ago, in like the late afternoon. Tiki Farm put up the link, and I was going to post about it the next morning, and it had sold out overnight. I'm happy about it, of course, but I'm also embarrassed because I want people to be able to get it. So there's another batch coming in January.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great news. I'm excited to go through this book, and I guess I'll have to wait till January to get the mug and the book and stuff.
I think, are we going to make the Tortuga? It's going to be like at a restaurant, you get to keep the mug with the drink. And also, it was your birthday.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And we both share such a love for traditional Tiki, and I love the mugs that have some kind of historical element to them.
And this one to me is special because it's so modernist and simplistic. Like, I always like to do things that are not done at the moment.
Yeah.
So to me, this is a minimalist mug in a maximalist mug world. Totally. Worm.
It's a very good point. There's so much detail in so many mugs now.
Yeah, it's like they're too realistic and naturalistic, even if they're surrealistic, but if they're monsters and things, this is all you need. Their tiki stood outside the first Trader Vic's in Oakland first, and they had 3 of those type of statues.
Wow.
And then they used them as entrance tiki to the San Francisco one. They used it in Seattle.
Oh, wow.
And in Portland, I think. When I saw those tikis first in my research in the 90s, I sort of passed them over. They were like just eyes, a nose, and a mouth and a face. They were so simplistic that at the time I was like fascinated by.
You wanted to see this guy,
the cool,
the big coup, and
the Marquesan tikis with their cool features and the Maori carvings. And I was just learning about all that stuff. Then in retrospect, I realized I made the connection to the European avant-garde and the modernists in the 1920s and 30s that revolutionized art. And I'm really fascinated by that group of artists in Europe and Germany and Paris that were inspired by oceanic and African art and then created their own vision of it. And I have examples of that in the book to make that connection that the guy, whoever it was, it's an anonymous carver who carved these. I think he was inspired by those artists. So it's to me, I call it the missing link between the moderns of Europe and American tiki in a way.
And this was endorsed and sanctioned by Eve Bergeron, right?
The book, yes, that was all her idea.
Trader Vic's granddaughter.
Yeah. She came to me and said, let's do a mug with a book.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, that has been done. And also, nobody else can do it.
Yeah.
Or at least not the way I do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have to make a cocktail for this thing, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that.
It's the Tortuga. I selected the Tortuga in the back of the book, the recipe, because that was my favorite Trader Vic's cocktail at the Beverly Hills.
Oh, man, I hate that place is gone.
Even at that time, I had a lot of cocktails already, but when I had the Tortuga, I noticed it as something.
Well, I've been noticing the ingredients, and it seems like a bizarre cacophony of nonsense.
I don't know. I haven't had it in any other place. The guys that made it there were these Chinese old-timers.
Yeah.
I've been there forever.
And one of them was still there up until about 5 years ago.
At the new one?
At the new one.
That little one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was still making all those cocktails right from his mind,
Man. I regret not going there more often to the Beverly Hills Traders.
Yeah, me too.
You're far away from it, but even for me to go across town and from Zurich to West LA, it was a trek. I only went there a couple times every year, and then it was gone.
I know. It was a shame.
Let's commemorate it with this.
With the Tortuga. And so for this cocktail, we will be using limes, lemons, oranges, grenadine, orange curacao, creme de cacao, sweet vermouth.
Whoa.
Yes. Lemon Heart 151. And light Cuban rum. All right, let's make the cocktail.
That's not the real Havana Club.
I mean, we're not in Cuba. All right, you want to start by grabbing a lime? Can you cut that in half?
I thought you were going to do it.
Well, we'll do it together here.
Okay.
So we need a half an ounce of lime juice per cocktail. You want to squeeze those?
He's making me do it. You tricked me.
So we need an ounce of lime juice. All right. You have a lime tree in your house?
No, but I will have one in Palm Springs.
Oh, Palm Springs.
Yeah. We're fortunate that limes are so common here in California.
I would say that anybody that wants to make tiki cocktails at home, if you have the ability to plant your own citrus trees, it's a great idea.
And grow some mint.
Yep. Grow some mint. All right, we're good right there.
This is neat. You see the level while you.
I know. Everybody likes the jiggers and stuff, and I'm like,
that's perfect.
Yeah, we're not looking for speed here. We're just looking for precision.
Yeah, with that many ingredients, you better be precise because anything off can mess it up.
Totally. Okay, let's go ahead and cut a lemon in half.
I don't know. This knife is dangerous.
It is very sharp. It's a shun.
Ew.
Same with this. So we're looking for 1 ounce of lemon juice, half an ounce per cocktail. And the orange.
Jesus. How are we going to squeeze that?
Hold on. We got a bigger one over here.
Oh my goodness.
Sven got to my door with this look of exasperation. He's like, well, that was a haul. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's like an hour from Silver Lake. Okay. But now he's frustrated because he's got to squeeze fruit. Same amount.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
okay. You're really digging into that one.
What a mess.
Okay, so we have the fruit juices. Let's move on. Grenadine? Let's do the grenadine.
Okay.
So the recipe calls for 1 dash of grenadine. You know what a dash is?
No, but I'm sure you know.
I do know. Our friend Victor Bergeron had shorthand for a 1/4 ounce
Okay.
was a dash. We need 2 dashes, so 1/2 ounce.
No, you put that in there. It's like
Okay, you can't see the damn-
intricate from.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 1/2 ounce of grenadine. Just probably just for a little color.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Next thing will be, let's do the vermouth. I got carded a minute ago for this vermouth with a full beard. What?
Does it make you feel good?
Yeah. I was like, just turned 21. 1 ounce per cocktail, so 2 ounces. That's a lot of vermouth, huh?
Yeah. I'm gonna taste test this.
You're just gonna drink some vermouth?
Yeah.
Ew. Alright.
I like all kinds of vermouth and sherry.
You like Fernet?
No, that's too bitter.
Yeah, that's gross. All right. Cheers to your vermouth.
Yeah, I like Manhattans, sea sours, and those classic cocktails, and they all take a lot of vermouth.
Yeah, but not a glass of vermouth.
No, it's good.
All right. 2 ounces of vermouth, which is, this whole cocktail is so confusing to me. And then we get onto something that is like chocolate flavored?
Yeah.
Creme de cacao.
Isn't that like a thing that they do at the Mai Kai also?
Yeah?
Yeah. It's so sugary that you can't open the damn bottle there.
2 dashes of creme de cacao, which means 1/2 ounce.
Okay.
Okay.
Looks kind of yucky.
Yeah, it does look kind of yucky. 2 dashes of orange curacao. So that means, oh, wait. 2 dashes of orange. Of,
We have to do it again.
no, we're good. It was 2 dashes of this
Yeah.
per cocktail.
Oh.
So 1/2 ounce, 1/2 ounce.
Oh, okay.
So we actually needed 1 ounce. So my fault. So another 1/2 ounce. Man, this is what happens when you sit down and talk about the politics of tiki for an hour with Sven while drinking glasses of rum. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
whoa, that's vermouth.
So orange curacao is 2 dashes per cocktail. That means 1 ounce. There.
Sorry.
What are you gonna do with another 1/2 ounce?
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's still too much. Okay. This actually, you can drink that stuff. This is, I never had that as another sipping option.
Maybe tomorrow night I'll just drink some orange curacao. You never know. Okay, so we're to the booze now.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was this? I mean, the curacao is alcoholic. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
alcohol in there.
Yeah. But I don't think he goes to meetings.
No.
So why don't we start with the 151, which immediately I'm like, oh no, 151. We need 2 ounces of that total. So 1 ounce per cocktail.
Zip.
Perfect. And then another 2 ounces of the Havana. Oh,
Huh?
go ahead. Oh no, go ahead and open that. Oh,
What?
was that a cork?
No, it was a fake cork.
Oh, what do you think about fake corks?
It's not the same. I'm such a traditionalist. I mean, I buy rum for vintage-looking labels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate all these rum brands that try to make something modern.
Well, what about the Trader Vic's grenadine syrup that I got from a garage sale?
That is especially interesting because not only because of the A-frame, of course, which I love, but because of the bare breast and then of that sort of suggestive pomegranate.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Wow.
that is. You never know what if the graphic artist intended it back in the day, or if they were just being innocent, but certainly suggests some interesting possibilities.
Well, there was a lot of innuendo and sexuality in tiki, right?
Right.
Okay.
Not openly, though. I mean, it was, it was always like jokingly and the stuff that the parents joked about.
So there's the cocktail. Just drink up. I guess we should probably shake this. So we got to get some ice in this thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to pour it into the 10-pin Pilsner glass.
Yes.
You called this something else earlier. What did you call that?
Tulip shaped.
Oh, tulip shape. In the Trader Vic's bartender's guide, they call it the 10-pin Pilsner glass.
Right. It's beautiful.
It's like my favorite, absolute favorite glass. Okay, so we're going to throw some ice into this thing here. You much of a cocktail shaker?
You know, no, not at all. Not please.
Oh, okay. You want me to do it, or you want to do it?
No, you don't have to do it. I would spill it all over that.
I see. Okay.
But I like that you do it the old school way, with not in the cocktail shaker, but with a glass and just.
I used to shake it, up like this, because you see that in like movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had bartender friends tell me that it's better to shake.
This rolls it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the glass doesn't come off.
It doesn't. Okay, we're gonna pour it. Oh wow, that is an odd scent. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna pour the other one into this dude here.
I call it the Proto Tiki.
Proto Tiki.
Because he was really the first tiki before there was tiki.
Oh.
I mean, he was outside of Trader Vic's in the maybe late 30s, but definitely in the 1940s.
Right.
So tiki was not the icon of Polynesian pop yet. He was just one of the many accoutrements. But he was the guardian tiki to the entrance. So,
man, I love that history so much. It all matters. It's all so important in the story of the cocktails, even.
The fascinating thing is that Don the Beachcomber, again, was the first who had this tiki. And I just found out recently, because of Swanky's, Tim Glasner's research and getting the Don the Beachcomber archive from his wife, he unearthed these photos that showed a tiki like this. This is a specific one that I modeled from the San Francisco Trader Vic's entrance, this specific one. But there were several of these, all obviously done by the same carver. For the longest time, I assumed they actually came from Hawaii because there was this famous photo of Martin Denny and his band posing with one of these. And then there was record covers and tours, brochure photos of these beautiful Hawaiian girls in a so-called fern forest. And I thought it was in the fern forest in Kauai, I think.
Yeah, Kauai.
Right. Until Swanky found these photos of the original Don the Beachcombers in Hawaii that had extensive tropical landscaping and water features. Back then, the photographers didn't go into some fern forest jungle and shoot them all. They went to the closest possible location, which was, in this case, Don the Beachcombers in Waikiki. And that's where they shot the photos with the model and Martin Denny.
Wow.
But then Swanky found these other photos from Don the Beachcomber's estate in Encino, where he had all the Life magazine article with those great luau party photos and all the film stars and starlets congregate in there. He had these photos of Red Skelton and then this couple that I have the photo of in my book that were actors posing with this tiki in his front yard in Encino.
Oh, man.
So the only way I can put it together is when he decided to move to Hawaii and he left the ranch in Encino, he took that tiki with him and put it up at the Don the Beachcomber in Hawaii.
Wow.
So it's still uncertain if it was carved over there, over here, because Don imported a lot of his artifacts from Hawaii still. This was before there was any American tiki carvers. So I'm kind of assuming that it was that the artist was from Hawaii, but we don't know who it was. So that's the next mystery to be cleared up.
The next mystery is the taste of this cocktail.
Yes.
Let me do this first. I like a lot of mint, so I'm going to
I like a lot of mint too.
Tear that off there.
Yeah. What I do with my Mai Tai, I not only do the slapping and garnishing, but I just take some leaves and stuff it in there on the bottom of the drink so that you can push it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's a little bit like making a
mojito?
Mojito or so.
So you muddle it down there?
A little bit.
All right.
I love mint.
Yeah, I do too. Okay.
I never have enough mint flavor.
You got to smack the mint, of course, right?
Yeah.
And so from Trader Vic's, this is the Tortuga. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is a bizarre flavor profile. There are so many things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's just, holy smokes! It's like I can taste every single ingredient. Does it taste right to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And what I like about it, you can taste the amount of liquor without it being, obtrusive or anything like that.
But there are slight notes of chocolate, like way in the back, and then you get like a lot of vermouth.
Yeah.
But you're not drinking a glass of vermouth like Sven did. That is a really interesting cocktail.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
And that's not a drink that I probably would have decided to do on my own. So I'm very thankful that you brought that over.
If you have this mug, enjoy the Tortuga in it and look at my book.
And you can get the mug and the book again in January, right? From Tiki Farm?
Yep. This has been a long time in the making, of course. To make the book, design the mug. You don't realize how actually hard it is to hit the right dimensions in a simple design like that.
Totally.
Because everything that's a little off, so I had to go the 3D designer in terms to get it right. No, this is too narrow. And this has to be there.
I mean, it's a beautiful mug, and the only mugs that I buy these days are mugs that have some kind of historical thing or something that my friends create. But really, it's a beautiful mug, and I love how
it sits well in the hand, doesn't it?
It really does, and I also love how, what would you call that? Like
the old font, the
simplistic, or
it's sort of a jaunty, like offset angles font, of the Trader Vic's logo. I'm so grateful for Eve being at Trader Vic's because she's truly one of us in terms of the aesthetic and appreciating. She manages to sort of walk the tightrope between creating contemporary merchandise and stuff that is relating to the history of Trader Vic's really well.
Well, and that's what I was so impressed with. It was a very inexpensive mug that Trader Vic's did recently-ish, like 2016. And you hadn't really seen Trader Vic's do anything cool in a long time.
Right.
And it's a very rudimentary mug, but it's like a Marquesan drum.
Yeah.
And I think it was like one of their employees sculpted this or something. I think it's great. It's usually our mint holder on the thing, but
she saved a lot of the old material that would have been thrown out and stuff. So I'm grateful for her idea with this concept, and it's just the beginning. There's going to be 3 in the series.
Oh.
The next one is going to be one of the big round-headed Marquesan mugs.
Okay.
And the third one is going to be Barney West.
Oh,
and
man.
Each one will have a book about those artists and about that style.
And each one will have Sven back here on the Breezeway Cocktail Hour.
Oh, there will? Okay.
I got plenty of rum for us to drink.
Yeah,
That's really exciting.
I'm glad to come and talk about my research and stuff. And in this case, this series will there will all be busts, so you can line them up. It sort of functions in a modernist environment too, just as a sculpture.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why I want to make those other mugs too. They represent the evolution of tiki and Polynesian pop from pre-tiki, like this one, to native oceanic tiki, which was the Marquesan guy. That was the time when Trader Vic's was actually importing carvings from Tahiti. So there was a Tahitian carver family that made those, and then came Barney West, which was the American tiki pop carver par excellence. So those 3 tikis will represent the evolution of tiki style.
Wow, amazing. Is there a tiki bar that if you could go back to it now, even though it's been closed forever and you missed it when you were aware of tiki, is there a bar that you would go back to now to be able to see how it was?
Oh, that's there's so many. There are posts where I say I wish I would have a time machine.
Yeah.
And people post findings.
I mean, the Shell Bar would be amazing, right?
The Shell Bar, right?
Especially if Martin Denny was performing.
Or Canlis, Did you see those photos I posted recently from Canlis? It was such a beautiful mixture of modernism and tiki aesthetic at the same time. But
or Ren Clark's place.
Ren Clark's, of course. That was such a weird place at a weird location at a weird time and the short way it lived. And I got all of these papers from court cases against Ren Clark. It seems like he screwed a lot of the investors. Yeah, really. Nothing, I mean, he was obviously very creative and created this amazing historic place. But then there's this whole connection to the Mexican, all these people. He had, Milan Guanco brought on all these Mexican carvers that then later did the Mauna Loa in Mexico. And there's a whole another, strain that goes towards Mexican tiki. But the one place that I regret, driving by a lot was the China Trader in Burbank.
Yeah.
Because it was very unassuming from the outside, but it was fully decked out in tiki.
And a lot of history there, right?
The Hawaiian Eye actors used to hang out there.
And then Harry Yee.
Harry Yee, bartended. Lee Marvin used to hang out there. I mean, can you imagine walking into the tiki bar and Lee Marvin?
No. I think we had a tiki central meetup at the Trader Vic's Beverly Hills thing for like an anniversary party that Trader Vic's was doing. It was, what's his name from Get Smart?
He was there?
I think he was there, unless I'm wrong and he was already passed away. But it was that kind of thing that the old guard of Hollywood would still go to Trader Vic's because it was
in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I know. It never, that's what gets me about losing that place. It never went down in popularity.
Yeah.
The old guard switched over to people like Nicolas Cage and new Hollywood people that used to go there.
And Hefner was bringing his girlfriends there, and they enjoyed it.
No, it was doing well, and it was fine. But as so often, like as happened with the Polynesian Village apartment in Marina del Rey, the value of the property outpaced any commercial value of the operation there. It was just some operator, some developer decided he's going to put this multi-million or billion-dollar project together, and that's what shut it down. And then the whole thing blew up. And it was, so it closed for nothing. It's like,
That happened to Kona Lanes here in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
In Kona Lanes, the lot was empty for years and years and years.
Right.
And it was built in 1959. It was gorgeous. And, I know it's
where capitalism goes wrong, and when you say that, like, he's like, he's a socialist because he says capitalism is not, it's going wrong somewhere.
Well, I think
it's going wrong in many ways.
Well, I think you need to protect history. You know what I mean? I think Orange, California does a really good job of that. They make sure that you can't modify the homes or the buildings in a way that changes the look of the area. And I think that's so important. I think LA has a really hard time with that because there's so many beautiful theaters and places that need to be preserved.
Right. I mean, whatever will happen to the Maikai, we don't know. But it sounds good.
It sounds good.
It sounds like there's a company that has enough money to be able to, first of all, they have to have money and experience in other places that are going well.
Right.
To be able to say, we want to preserve the history. Because there have been examples where people said that and then they chicken out and they just went for the cheap commercial stuff. So hopefully it'll turn out well.
On the show, we have a moratorium on saying that the Maikai is your favorite tiki bar. Because it's just it's an obvious thing. If you've been there...
It's the only one of that size and scope.
I know.
History.
So what's the second one then? What's your second favorite tiki bar?
Well, I have to say, because it's like 8 minutes from my house, the Tiki Tea.
The Tiki Tea, yeah. Great cocktails.
Yes.
Since 19...
Although they don't have the Tortuga.
Well, we'll talk to them about that. Although there's 35 ingredients or whatever the hell we did here. It's a good cocktail. It really is. It's just a bizarre combination. At first you go, man, that's a weird... I would never mix those ingredients.
Right.
Oh, I do have this. It's drenched in rum now, but this is a Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour enamel pin. And if you're on the show, you get one of these. Otherwise, you can do
I like this. The back side with a miniature Whitco bar. That's cool.
Thank you. Our friend Larissa illustrated that.
Nice.
And it's the Breezeway here. If you want one of these pins, you can join the $10 tier on Patreon, and I will send you one of these pins. Otherwise, you got to be on the show. Oh, God, don't do that. No, oh God!
I guess it'll go through leather, right?
It should go through leather. Oh my God, I've had too much alcohol, I think.
Yeah.
I want to thank you once again for joining us on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour with just a guest that I never thought that would be on the show or at my house or whatever, and a guy who legitimately changed my life, and I don't mean to say that to embarrass you or anything.
No.
It is what it is. What are you doing with that knife?
No.
So thank you again, Mr. Sven Kirsten. I really appreciate what you've done for our community. And,
I appreciate you and your work too.
Thank you. Aloha. I know, it's a real pain in the ass. This is the lemon heart that Ed, what's his name?
Hamilton.
Thank you. See, this is what happens. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us once again on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. Oh my god. Okay.
I can tell that.
Oh,
I put limes in my tie.
well, that's the right place to put them. I think one of the most important pages in your Book of Tiki is the page that describes pre-Tiki and then Polynesian pop Tiki, or the heyday of Tiki.
Right.
This is the page that I'm talking about, the evolution of Polynesian pop, pre-Tiki to Tiki.
Kevin Kidney and Jody Daly redesigned my own hand-drawn thing. They did a great job, and it has never been proven wrong, and it's backed up by just imagery and historic findings.
You know what Leroy told me one time? I was telling him, like, yeah, the Hula Girls are playing a lot of shows at Clifton's, Pacific Seas, not Pacific Seas, original Pacific Seas, of course, but the Pacific Seas at Clifton's, Brooksdale, I guess.
Right.
He said, I was walking past Pacific Seas when I was younger, and that was the inspiration for starting Oceanic Arts.
Wow.
Because the whole facade with the waterfall and the tropical decor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Supposedly it was also the inspiration for Disney, for Walt Disney.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
About Oceanic Arts, of course it's sad that they're closing, but as I always say, it was amazing that they were still around when I found them in the 90s. And they inspired the Book of Tiki. I first discovered them after I had been to Benson's here in Long Beach. The guys have begrudgingly told me, oh yeah, there's another place called ours, because they were competitors. They were competitors back in the old days. At that time, in the early 90s, everything was dead for them anyway. Yeah. But at the time, they were still in their old original location. But anyway, I found them through a tip of Benson's, and my first reaction when Leroy, I always tell the story when I went in there, and Leroy was sitting at the counter like this, and there was a spider web going. That's how it looked. It looked like he hadn't moved in days because there was no business. They were so dead. When I got all excited, Leroy pulled out all these menus. And there was a stack of them, a stack of all these vintage menus of all the places that they had worked on. And as I found out later, in my research, I went to R.M.A. Davis, and they designed some of the menus. And then I found out about the Lord Menu Company. Uh-huh. And they said, oh no, we threw away all old.
Oh my God. Oh.
So thank God places like Oceanic Arts kept them.
Yeah.
But as I was a visually oriented person, I saw the artwork and typefaces on these menus, and I'm like, my first reaction was, somebody has to make a book about this.
Yeah.
And I was a cinematographer. I wasn't an author, so I wasn't thinking about. But 3 years down the line, nobody had started anything, so I said, well, I
guess I'm the guy.
I guess I have to do the book.
The weirdest thing for me was when I got this book, first of all, the cover is like puffy, which is so weird. I was like, what?
I know, that was kind of cool that my publisher did that.
And then in the back, there was all this German stuff that I was like, I don't know, because it didn't say like this is the German interpretation. I was like, why is it in German? And now it makes full sense. But
it's funny when you look at the captions and stuff. The German edition adds this kind of scholarly touch to it.
It totally does.
Some foreign nations think this is something worthy to write about.
Yeah.
They're still with Tiki Pop. They're like, why is it in 3 languages? Like, because Taschen can sell their books internationally, that makes them so cheap. So you can afford them. You don't have to pay $100 now for the out of print ones. You have to pay over $100. But when they came out, that was $30. Tiki Modern, I think, was $40. And even Tiki Pop, the big edition, was $40 for that huge book, which is amazing.
$40, bigger than my head.
That's what it used to be when it came out.
And to find these books now on eBay, what do you think they run?
They're in the 200. This is actually my personal favorite because
I love it too.
it deals with the clash and the intermingling of mid-century modernism, which we both love, and tiki primitivism, you know.
With a heavy emphasis on Whitco.
Yeah. Because they were like the masters. You know, when I went to Oceanic Arts first, they showed me, you know, the Whitco catalog, and they were sort of laughing it off because they deemed themselves as the authentic,
and they were
decor makers. Because they drew their inspiration from Oceanic Art book,
right?
And so they're talking about Whitco. And I was like, wow, this is so cool.
Even back then, you realized,
it looked to me like a Cramps music video set, you know, like somebody had made this in the modern times to be over the top, but no, it was real. It's actually stuff that people put in their rumpus rooms and living rooms.
How long until you realized that Elvis had done his jungle room in that style?
Didn't take too long, you know. It's
pretty identifiable.
And it was perfect. And you know the story of my Whitco furniture, that I actually bought this whole set of bedroom, sofa, the bar, the fucking Tahiti bar.
Wow.
That amazing thing that looks like it can walk away on its own. I bought it on eBay from this black family in Nashville who had originally bought it at the same store that Elvis bought his jungle room stuff.
No way.
I have the receipt, and it was like this huge, long receipt. I mean, they paid thousands of dollars back then. You know, because they not only got the living room and bar set, but they got the bedroom set too. At the time, I split it with Kim in Florida because I couldn't afford it. I was shooting in Bavaria, and Naomi was orchestrating buying it on eBay for me and Kim. It was really an amazing thing that happened. But the best thing is having this receipt from, I forgot the name of the Robertson furniture or whatever, but it's the same store, that famous anecdote where, you know, Elvis comes home and Elvis' father told him, I just saw this
ugliest stuff in the world
in the store in downtown. And Elvis says, I just bought a whole store.
I thought that once he heard that, he went to go see it and then he bought everything. But I don't know how that went.
No, it's supposedly
he already bought it all.
Yeah, I bought it. But you know, which is also so symptomatic for what that style was for a younger generation. It was this kind of revolting against the parents' Puritan restrained taste.
Right.
You know, and so it was the same way why the black community latched onto Whitco. You know, it was like it allowed them to show their pride and tribal, you know, history with the leopard and the primitivism and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so ridiculous now that people think it's politically incorrect. Back then, a lot of black people had this stuff in their houses,
right?
Because it was African.
Yeah.
Also African inspired, you know, and they were proud of it.
Interesting. I know. It's like, gosh. So we're gonna be having. Oh my god.
And this bar is great.
Thanks.
What is this? It's like an old nautical
logo. It was a ship's hatch that Bamboo Ben sold to me out of somebody's backyard, like somebody's home bar.
Right.
We sliced it in half, stuck it together, and then that thing in the middle is a submariner's seal. My dad was in the SS Kamehameha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of like a nice thing for my dad. And,
yes. And you poured the resin? Or somebody?
Yeah, we just did the resin. This is the lemon heart that Ed Hamilton brought back from the dead. And then he made his own. So
he was influential on getting the lemon heart reinstated?
He was the guy that was importing it again after it went away.
But why isn't it the same?
The episode that Ed Hamilton was on the show, he talked about how it changed recipes.
Right.
So when he brought it back originally, it was this bottle.
Oh, I never seen that one.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a funny story. I'm afraid that I turned my son on to rum sipping. He used to go on my jobs to shoot movies in Germany for any length of time. I kind of had to I didn't make marks on my rum bottles, okay? But I cautioned him not to drink my whole home bar.
Yeah.
One day I came back and I had one of the impossibly hard to get original bottles of Lemon Heart.
Oh no.
You know, and I'm like looking at it. He goes, "You drank half the bottle of this stuff."
Oh.
And he said, "Well, the label looked so cheap. I thought."
Oh no.
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is that the last concert the Hula Girls performed at before the end of life was at the Adventurers Club in Los Angeles.
Oh, yes.
And you were also performing.
Yes.
You were dancing salsa.
No, I was.
You were doing a talk on what, the Marquesas?
Yeah, in the footsteps of Carl von Steinen and his research in the Marquesas. I'm always a little bit fascinated by the European side that, you know, people like from the Nordic cold countries,
right,
like Thor Heyerdahl and Carl von Steinen from Germany did this amazing research in Polynesia, and his 3 books on the culture and art of the Marquesans preserved Marquesan culture, while at the same time Western influence with all the diseases killed Marquesan. There was an incredible die-off of the Marquesan population because of smallpox and stuff and diseases that they didn't have any immunity to. But Carl von Steinen did these really intricate books on Marquesan art and carvings and stuff, and I see a parallel to myself. Why is the Northern European temperament always inspired by the tropical and South Seas lifestyle?
Yeah.
There's a parallel there.
What's the allure of paradise, I think?
Yeah, the opposites attract.
Yeah,
you know?
I think so. And I also think about the Royal Hawaiian Hotel in Waikiki. So colonial. And then it took Dawn Beach to come back to Hawaii and go, we want you to do Hawaii.
Right.
Be Hawaiian.
Right. That's what these youngins don't understand, that these people like Dawn the Beachcomber and stuff, they were really into the native culture. They just... Tiki culture, tiki restaurants, tiki bars really helped to preserve a lot of these cultures. Yeah, places like the Bali High, I know from witnesses that a lot of Pacific Islanders like to go there because it reminds them of home.
Right.
They know, they can separate what's the real culture and what's the fake culture.
Yeah.
But they still enjoy the Western interpretation of it because it reflects and it uplifts their culture.
And so much of that art and so much of that culture would probably be lost if it wasn't for a lot of the bars and a lot of the, you know and I think that Vic did a great job.
There were these people during the main heyday of Tiki that are called Polynesiacs that were really like, you know, like Trader Vic and Dawn the Beachcomber, but they're taking the deep dive into the culture. In today's Tiki culture, out of every 100 people that are superficially into Tiki, there are 4 or 5 or even 10 people that really go into Polynesian culture and learn to appreciate it. And that's an exposure that culture wouldn't have otherwise.
Absolutely.
You know, and it supports it and it makes it go on.
A lot of cases, it might even just go away without that.
Yeah, and you know, it's an obvious fact that a lot of Pacific Islanders don't have any of these kind of problems that all the white intellectuals have with Tiki. So let's make another Tortuga.
Oh, another one?
It's so good.
It's so good. All right, we can make another one of these. All right, I think are we done?
Yeah.